please, 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 if there's any TikTok you watch, let it be this one. You're just gonna want to hear that. So I was watching a TikTok earlier today from Mercedes. I'll tag her below. She was saying how she was struggling with seeing God as her husband, and how she would go to God and say, like, like, you're not physically here for like the kisses, the hand holding, the cuddles, all the things that when you're not in a relationship you miss. And she was like, how can you love me? God told her, Mercedes, you're looking at love in the physical sense. All the fluffy sprinkle stuff that you humans have added to it. And then he gave her the famous 1 Corinthians 13, love is ... He said, that is real love. That is the way I love you. And it just blew her mind seeing it in a completely different way. I'm not gonna lie, I've been struggling with that too. So it was so refreshing to hear like her speak on what God was speaking to her and seeing it in that light. The last few weeks, I've been praying and asking God to show me how to love him. Like I went to him and I told him, I was like, God, you know my love language, but I want to know your love language. Aside from love others, love your neighbor. Like, we know that. And I'm going to do that. But like, how can I intentionally love you? Like, if this is a relationship, I don't want you to just love me the way that makes my butterflies and my tummy go wild and my heart thump. I want to be able to do the same for you. And tonight I was praying that again. I was like, God, show me how to intentionally, intimately love you. And he put Mercedes' video in my head again. And he said, 1 Corinthians 13. And I said, but that's the way you love me. Like, and that's the way I'm supposed to love others. But like, how do you want me to love you? And he said, 1 Corinthians 13. So let's take a look at 1 Corinthians 13. I'd note this is going to be a really long TikTok, but I promise you it's going to be so worth it. So let me just remind you what 1 Corinthians 13:4 says. Love is patient, love is kind, love does not envy, love does not boast. Love is not proud, love does not dishonor others. Love is not self-seeking, love is not easily angered. Love does not delight in evil. Love rejoices with the truth. Love bears all things. Love always trusts. Love always hopes. Love always perseveres. So let's break it down. So like, I went down deep in the rabbit hole with this one. Like, I looked up the Hebrew word for patient. Love is patient. Patient in Hebrew is the word savlanut. It means to have the ability to accept or tolerate delay, trouble, or suffering without getting angry or upset. The Bible tells us that we will suffer. It's not unknown to us. But here it says, to love God is to not get angry or upset at our troubles, but to have the ability to accept them and tolerate delay. Delay in his answers, delay in his promises, to tolerate and accept trouble and suffering with a happy heart. Like, I'm not going to take it out on God when things aren't answered in my timeline and my desire and everything, but instead just like, okay, God, I thought I would have this answer by now. I thought this would be resolved by now, and it's not. So okay, God. That response from me gives him butterflies. Next, love is kind. The actual word for this is kind-hearted, and if you look it up in the dictionary, it means having or showing a sympathetic nature. And this just automatically, the song Break My Heart for What Breaks Yours came in, and then immediately after it was like, show me what's breaking your heart, even if it messes me up. Loving God is loving what he loves and hating what he hates. It's like, break my heart for what breaks yours. Like, it's being kind-hearted. It's suffering when he suffers. It's like, if you see God, you know, like, he hated the way that people were treated. So when we see people being treated incorrectly, we should hate that too. He loved people. Like, no matter what their sin was, he loved them. So we should love them too. Just being kind-hearted. Love does not envy. The dictionary meaning for envy is feeling of discontent and resentment aroused by a desire for the possessions or qualities of another. We are not properly loving God when we think the grass is greener anywhere but in our own lawn. And this one hit home because I've been struggling with that this week. I'm like, God, I hate this feeling of jealousy. When I look at someone that has what I really wanted, and knowing that what I'm going through and seeing that person, it worked out for them and it didn't work out for me. And that feeling of just resentment and jealousy over someone who it's not their fault. They don't know I'm feeling, and I told them, I'm like, it's not their fault, but I'm not. I'm jealous of them. And he said this: do not envy, because I have something special planned for them, but I have something special planned for you. I have plans to prosper you and not to harm you. I have plans to give you the future you hope for. But you're not loving me if you think the grass is greener anywhere else but where I have you. Love does not boast. The wrong way to boast is to boast in ourselves. After saying that we have received everything from God in 1 Corinthians 4:7, Paul asks, why do you boast as though you did not? Because everything we have, everything we've received is from God. We're not to boast as if we were self-sufficient, self-centered. All my praise should be for him. It should not be for myself or my own doings, because everything is not my doing. This TikTok was not because of my own brain. It was literally the Holy Spirit guiding me to come to this that I had been asking the Lord for, and then telling me to tell it to other people because someone else has to hear it. It's giving God the glory for everything that we have, for the clothes, for the shoes, for the gas, for the food, for things that are so minuscule. It's giving him the glory because it belongs to him. Don't you hate it when you do the whole class project because your team did absolutely nothing, but you wanted the great A, the good A, and then everyone else gets an A, and then even then, like, they boast about it, and then the teacher gives them praise, like, oh my gosh, you did so good, and you're like, no, I did the work. Same thing. We're not loving God if we're stealing his spotlight, if we're stealing his credit. If I don't like someone to do that to me, I'm pretty sure God doesn't like me to do it to him. Love is not proud. The Greek word for proud is physiotai. I'm totally butchering this. I'm so sorry. And it is often translated to the word puffed up. So we aren't to try and puff up our own reputation. Like I said, it's not me, it's God. I'm not going to try and exaggerate things. I'm not going to sit here and put on a face full of makeup before I do this TikTok, pretending that I looked like that before I made this TikTok. No, if I happen to have makeup on at that moment, I will, like, okay, I'll make the TikTok. But I'm not going to pretend to do that and pretend like I have this luxurious life and people ask me, hey, how are you? Oh, everything's great. Everything's wonderful, when really they're not. Oh, do you need prayer? Oh, no, everything's good. What can I pray for you about instead? Like, I'm not going to try and exaggerate my life to make it seem better than what it really is, or to make it seem worse so people can say, oh, poor you play the victim. Like, it's not to puff myself up and add all this fluff and all this adornment to my life that's not there. It's being raw and it's being real. And I'm definitely going to need a part 2 for this.